Welcome everyone. Today we're gonna watch Star Citizen Live Q&A jump points. I know there's been a lot of confusion about jump points. I am confused too. And there's a lot of things on Reddit, on Spectrum, a lot of videos talking about jump points. So yeah, CIG decided to do a Q&A, and I'm curious to see what happened in this video. So let's watch. This is 1 hour, 1 minute, 12 seconds.
Mm-hmm. And it's just that thing where you get to the robots, like, okay, you've got this threat, you've got monsters that are coming up out of a hole, and it's like, okay, so the logical thing is we got to make giant robots. But I'm like, they got that sword, and the sword, it like cuts through anything, and I'm like, skip the robots and just build a grate over the hole made of that sword.
What if there's a new hole?
But there wasn't a new hole. That's the thing. Apparently they've been fighting these monsters for 10, 15 years or whatnot. The monsters keep coming out of the same hole. It's like, just cover the hole with a grate made of that sword stuff and just make monster julienne fries at the bottom of
Are they talking about hill divers? I'm kidding.
the ocean. It just seemed like a lot less work.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't make a very good film.
Pacific Grate. Is that what you said? Pacific Grate?
I said
Yeah.
Pacific cheese grater.
Pacific Great.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Hi, what happened? I'm good.
I'll wait for you to answer in chat.
Oh man, I'm blinded by the lights.
Because you chat.
Welcome to Star Citizen Live. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. If you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, it's where we take a usually predetermined amount of time out of the end of our week, sit with our developers, and sometimes we answer questions. Sometimes we just talk about history, their history, the project history, whatnot. Sometimes we watch them work. This week's show is one of those Q&A episodes where we've invited two of our senior developers for the project. Answer your questions as submitted on Spectrum. Now, we do have another meeting that we have to go to, so this week's show will be a little shorter than normal. We're probably going to go maybe around 30 minutes of the show, but we do have a lot of good questions about jump points, so we're going to jump into it.
He said short show, 30 minutes, and the video is 1 hour long. Okay.
First, let me introduce our guest. It's these two guys. Say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Good.
Yep.
Rick, tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
I'm Rick Porter. I am your CIG design director, so just about all the design departments for both Squadron and Star Citizen report to me.
How's that feel?
It is a lot of work day in, but I love it.
Okay. And Ed, who are you and what do you do?
My name's Edward Fuller, and I'm senior principal system designer. Basically means that I work on a variety of game systems. One of those is jump points. The other one I help out on fire as well.
Senior principal. Not a lot of senior principals.
It means you've been here a long time.
Yeah.
That's not just the reason, though.
How'd you get that? No. How'd you get that title? You have to call ATC for it?
Yes. No. But there is an aspect of staying here for a long time. But you also
you've got
prove your worth. That's how I think I do it.
I was going to say that's as in my experience. My experience is I've been here doing the same thing for 10 years, and I've had like 7 different titles. The job doesn't change though. They're just trying to figure out what it is that I do and how to file me in the paperwork. Because my job doesn't really exist at a whole lot of other studios. But all right,
that's funny.
So today's topic is jump points. They're big. They're bad. They've changed visually quite a bit since we showed it to you just a few weeks ago. When they're on, we can't wait till you get into testing. You're going to see how they look even cooler now than they did when we were showing them to you. As for the
that's funny. I saw a lot of people complaining about how it looked. So they probably did some quick changes and they're like, oh, that's not how it's gonna look. You guys thought, but that's funny.
Q&A shows, we put a thread up on Spectrum. We let folks submit their questions, vote which questions they wanted to see answered most. Over half the questions were just variations of 2 specific questions, which we will get to. We won't hit you with them right off the bat, but rest assured we will get to those 2 questions that represent more than half of all the questions that were in the thread. So let's just jump right into it. Whichever one of you wants to jump on this. The first question is, will players with crime stat be allowed to jump at the Pyro gateway, as transient jump points will not be in 4.0. Now, obviously, in the show, we introduced this idea of transient jump points, these secondary jump points that come, they go, they connect into the main jump points as a way to kind of circumvent the security. But yeah, without those in 4.0, if I have a crime stat, am I still going to be able to contact the ATC? The ATC leave me on read? How's this work?
Well, yeah. So if you have a CS3, then ATC will not allow you to make a jump through a permanent jump point. Yeah.
What if there's someone with a crime stat 3, but he's a passenger in someone's ship, and the other person calls ATC? CIG didn't think of that.
Right. So if you're out murdering people, ATC is going to say, "No, we don't want you here. We'll call security, and you can be on your way.
So
Go serve your time."
So the current plan is that in 4.0, if you want to go to Pyro and commit all the murder and savagery you have to kind of clear your record before you go.
Either never have done it or clear it before you go. And it's also worth pointing out that it's on both sides. That ATC check is on Pyro as well. They guard their border though.
So if you're in Pyro and you're murdering and causing all kinds of...
Well, no, there's a bit different, because in Pyro, right, the jurisdiction isn't all UEE.
Correct. So in Pyro, there's the law enforcement isn't quite what it is in Stanton. So if you're out murdering people in most places in Pyro, you're not going to get a crime stat because you're not being monitored. It's not what we call monitored.
But is a crime stat of some sort in Pyro?
Yes.
Yeah, because there'll be a jurisdiction that covers the jump point and the station on the Pyro side. So say you go around and you're murdering in Pyro. Obviously, you're not actually earning any of those
You're just having fun.
crimes with the UEE. So if you go through, there won't be a problem. But if you then cause a ruckus right outside the jump point there, those will be fines that will prevent you from going through.
Gotcha. So if you're committing your terror around in the proximity of the jump point and stuff, then yes. Okay. Yeah. How do you clear a crime stat in Pyro?
Well, there's a couple potential ways. One, you could get incarcerated by the law enforcement.
You could be incarcerated.
and end up in jail.
Oh, so you get incarcerated in Pyro, and they end up taking you back to...
That's one way of doing it.
Okay.
I suppose.
Okay.
There are options on the table. We haven't really decided exactly what we're going to...
That's kind of weird, no? Because... I mean, Pyro was supposed to be for criminals, but you're gonna end up going to jail for doing these crimes. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Unless they cannot fully... No, I don't know. This...
Gonna do.
All right.
It is something we're considering different solutions to.
All right, so I'm sure there will be no doubt of no lack of suggestions in the YouTube comments.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
We've got some cool new areas in Pyro where we want people to adventure, and if there happens to be a way to clear a crime stat there, that wouldn't be out of place.
Yeah, and I just want to be really want to be clear of this. Pyro, if we're talking about the entire star system here, like if this is the entire star system, this much is lawless. This much is freeform. Do whatever the heck you want. This little area.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's small enough.
This little area here that surrounds the jump point. That's where the infrastructure is there. That's where the people.
It's absolutely infinitesimal.
Yeah, it's like if you try to cause trouble around that jump point, then that's where you're going to generate a crime stat, and it might be difficult for you to get back.
Yeah, so it's just a foothold there to make sure that commerce can go both ways.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the two most pressing questions, one was about griefing and stuff, so I assume that kind of feeds into that, and we'll hit that again when we come to it. Next question. Will the jump through the jump point consume quantum fuel? And if yes, how much? Be precise, Ed.
All right. Well
don't be precise.
Using permanent jump points will use quantum fuel. It's going to be like per jump point, it will be fixed, but obviously we only have the jump point between Stanton, Pyro, Pyro, Stanton. But those paired jump points, it will be the same either way. We haven't got a precise number, and it wouldn't be right for us to.
We're still
divulge
balancing that.
anyway.
We're working with the economy team to make sure that whatever amount of fuel that we decide is appropriate is matched up both to our jump drives and to the economy.
Doesn't it like, isn't it like a wave where like it sucks your ship and then you go into like this hole and it's just like leading it to Pyro? Like you need fuel for that? I feel like it shouldn't need fuel, right? I might be, I don't know anything.
And the cool thing though is that when you're attuning to a jump point, it'll let you know how much fuel you need, so you'll never be able to like go halfway.
You're going to start a jump.
Yeah.
So the jump drive won't let you go unless you have enough fuel to make the entire trip.
Exactly. And also there's going to be there's a station, so you can refuel. So if you're naturally going to arrive from QT and you will have burned something, and then you arrive, and then if you don't check out, then you can go and refuel, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. Folks in the chat right now are debating about who owns the jump points. Fine, but it's actually an independently run system,
Yes.
by the four major corporations, and the UE provides a certain level of security stuff like this. Yeah. So I don't. We'd have to.
It's definitely their jurisdiction, though.
Yeah.
Like UE,
it's still part of the
jurisdiction is all of Stanton, and then all the corporations have their own jurisdiction, but they abide by a higher law.
So they've got a little security at the jump points.
Yep.
I mean, it hasn't done a whole lot of good stopping Xenothreat from getting through all these incursions.
Yeah.
Well, last couple of years. I mean,
who's to say they're using that jump point?
Oh.
Yeah. Nod, wing, wing.
All right. All right. I see what you did there. But yes, looks like we'll consume quantum fuel, and like anything, whatever it is, we're going to go back to Tech Preview Channel. I'm not going to use the word soon. When we go back, that value will be one thing. Then when we go live, that value will be something else.
It's a wormhole that carries you, but you do have to maneuver to avoid colliding with the edges. Yeah, why that uses quantum fuel, I don't know, yeah.
And then by the time we hit 4.1, that value will almost certainly be something.
It's like you're kind of like in the water, no? And you just have to like lead the ship.
Something else. That's part of balance in an MMO and everything. So it's not necessarily something to freak out about.
Surfing.
Test it. Give us your feedback. Let us know what's too much, what's too low, and stuff like this, and we'll continue to dial it in.
We will almost certainly adjust this many times over the course of the development.
Yeah, you're going to find that
final release.
Yeah, that answer applies to almost every answer you ever hear on Star Citizen Live or ISC. This is a live service MMO game that we're building, so like this. So there isn't anything at this point that I would say is absolutely set in stone. There are things that we have very strong intentions for. There are things we have very strong intentions not to do. So this, but I think we've all been here long enough to know that new people come in with new ideas. Old people are here long enough to have.
Because you're using your quantum drive to stabilize your quantum field and propel your ship, else you just go boom.
New ideas, to learn things, to learn more than we did when we started here and stuff. So we're never afraid of that better idea. So work with us, we'll work with you, and I think we're all very confident we'll get to this point where it'll be a happy and fun experience.
I just want to play the game. I don't want to work. I guess making videos is work. I don't know.
What's stopping us from falling out of the jump tunnel and arriving earlier in the other star system? Kind of like a shortcut.
It's not a shortcut by any means. First of all, in order to fall out, you have to take enough damage on your ship that your jump drive overloads and can no longer support, your travel through to the tunnel. So you're gonna take your ship is gonna take damage, wear and tear. Like you're gonna come out of this in not great shape. We're still balancing exactly what that is, but it's not going to be good for you. And then even if you do survive that exit, if your ship's in good shape, you will. But if you survive that exit, you're not going to be where you intended to be. I can't guarantee where you're going to end up, but it's not going to be where you where the
it won't be the
jump
happy,
point ends
it won't
up.
be the happy part of Pyro.
It's going to be on the edge of space. And if your ship has enough quantum fuel, and if your ship's still in a good enough shape, maybe you could get to where you wanted to go.
I think it's worth noting that while we've been clear that it's distortion damage that builds up, the effects of distortion damage today on ships that are in the PU today versus on ships with the resource networking is going to be different.
And wear and tear on components.
Yes. As we showed with Fire yesterday on ISC, and if you haven't watched it, watch it.
Oh yeah, you could be on fire.
All these short out, all these component shorts that are that the distortion damage cause can be starting fires.
If you went into a jump tunnel and your ship wasn't in the best shape to begin with, and then you get launched out of that, you may take enough damage from distortion that you have a catastrophic malfunction on your components.
Right? Yeah, lost
That's just
the
the stuff we're
components,
doing
lost
intentionally.
fuse.
Who knows what's going to happen if we don't intend?
And all of that happens systemically outside of the jump point itself.
It could even be during the jump. You might be like riding the tunnel and picking up distortion, and then some fire breaks.
Don't ride the edge. Stay in the middle.
Keep
safe.
Keep safe. Fly safe.
How difficult are these jump tunnels supposed to be?
No, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I feel like I don't know how to feel about this. Like one part it sounds really cool, and on one side it sounds super cool, and on the other side, I feel like there's so much quantum travel on Star Citizen that I feel like people take those quantum breaks to, like, I don't know, go do something, go get water, go to the bathroom, like, I don't know, do whatever. And I feel like if they overcomplicate a lot of things, no, because I feel like we're lacking a lot of gameplay, so this is gonna add gameplay. And never mind, ignore me.
Well, I mean, that's...
Because the few times we've shown them over the years, sometimes it's this, oh, crazy, and sometimes it's just kind of...
Is it expected to be like a bit of a roller coaster?
I think, oh my god, I realized I think I got used to not having game content. Me saying this thing, I just realized that I'm so used to what we have right now that adding content or where you get to play the game sounds weird.
For the permanent, like the stable ones, like the reason why they're so important is because they're large enough to be stable, and pretty much any ship can get through there.
Yeah, like the highways of commerce.
Yeah, exactly.
They're reliable, right?
Falling out of jump points definitely sounds like something that is 100% going to be implemented and totally exist and not just never be talked about again after this.
But it's right. There is a difficulty to every jump tunnel, right? So
yeah, you can't just
specifically
coast.
Yes. You can't coast. You can't walk away from your seat because you have to fly it. You have to avoid the edges of the tunnel, on the obstacles in the tunnel as well. But the actual difficulty, there's also factors like there's going to be like turbulence.
Your thought isn't wrong, though, either. In a lot of space media, if they do a jump or warp, they usually get up and do other things. If it's a longer distance, so it just depends what they add. Yeah. I just hope I don't have to be like constantly playing the game. Because let's say like you have to take your ship from Stanton, you have to load cargo or something, you have to go to the jump point, and then you go to the jump point, and then like your ship starts getting on fire and you have to put the fire down, and then we're gonna have I think we're gonna have like a, how do you say it, life system or whatever, where you have to go to the bathroom, like your character in game has to go to the bathroom, they have to eat, and you're gonna have to do all these things while like playing and like just being busy all the time, and then you finally arrive, and then there's like a huge battle happening on Pyro. Like, I hope it just doesn't turn into like really draining gameplay where you have to constantly do all this stuff. Like, oh, like if someone goes into the jump point, we're just gonna randomly start a fire on their ship, you know? I just hope it doesn't. I hope there is a good balance where we have gameplay, but it's not super draining.
In the tunnel, so when you're flying, you'll feel turbulence and you'll have to contend
If
with
you go
this.
in
And
with a fully repaired ship, you won't have that. Yeah, only if you go in. Yeah, but what happens if they are talking that we can, no, actually, I don't think anyone's gonna be close enough to like hit you or something. Yeah, never mind.
smaller ships will have more turbulence, so they'll be even more. And then you have the larger ships, which will have maybe less turbulence. But then they also have to deal with the obstacles in the tunnel, just the small ships, and they have less space to maneuver.
Yeah, see, and now you have obstacles.
So there's quite a lot of factors in there, even between
How you forget to eat?
ships. Just because it's a massive tunnel doesn't mean the little ship has an easy time. And it doesn't mean just because the bigger one has less turbulence has an easy time either. They have different kind of gameplay experiences. So
is there space for your skill in 4.0? We're only going to have the one jump
Right.
tunnel.
Yep.
So we're just talking
well,
about
you say
4.0
one,
now.
but they are procedurally generated.
Yeah.
So
But
they're not like
is there a place for
track.
player skill in this? Is this just gonna? Is this just you have to pay attention and you'll be fine, or is there actually going to be some people who are good at this and some people who are bad at this?
For 4.0, it shouldn't require a lot of skill because this is a permanent, stable jump point, and we're not going to craft the procedural experience.
Yeah, when he's talking, there's gonna be obstacles. I'm wondering what he means. Like, are you just gonna be able to crash into another ship? Or are they gonna put something so you have to like avoid that? Or is he just talking about like not crashing into the walls so your ship doesn't go big bada boom?
To be super tough because we don't want people to be crashing out just going from one system to another on what's supposed to be a major tradeway. Now, when we come to transient ones, that's where it gets spicy.
yeah. I think people will still probably fail, and some of them will choose to fail to have the experience of what fail looks like. But
when we did the episode, this is, to me, having done this for 10 years, I always think this is obvious. And there's always people who have just joined the project 2 weeks before a show comes out, and I have to remember that's not always obvious. Everything that we show in ISC is work in progress. When we did the episode on jump points, the obstacles weren't there. The obstacles weren't there.
Yeah.
The obstacles weren't there. Will obstacles be there when we launch for 4.0? Is that still our intent?
I proved that earlier this week. I'm excited.
yeah,
Okay.
it's in game now. We have
Okay.
that, yeah.
So
What obstacles?
while it wasn't ready and available to us when we did ISC, but the obstacles that you still have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can be in different
They're currently in dev.
Okay. Cool. That also goes for
See, I feel like they are overcomplicating things, and I'm kind of scared they are gonna overcomplicate everything.
also goes for folks who watched yesterday's Fire episode, by the way.
Like, why do we have obstacles in a quantum travel from one system to another?
It's like, hey, some random shots could start a fire. Like, yes, if you shoot the thing for like 3.5 minutes, you might be able to start a fire.
Yeah,
we weren't going to sit there for 3.5 minutes
Click to cove.
and just stop the show for 3.5 minutes shooting fire. So we showed you the last
They are turning it into Kingdom Hearts. I haven't played. I have always wanted to play, but I haven't played Kingdom Hearts, so I don't know what that means.
3 seconds
Don't hate me. I got some hate for not knowing the WoW trailer. I'm sorry.
of it igniting, but you have to put.
I cannot learn every single game that exists. There's a new game coming out every single week.
Again, things that
And I know
sometimes
WoW
think
is
are
famous.
kind of obvious.
Oh my God,
always
I'm
good to
gonna get
remind you
hate
that,
now.
Yes, and a thing that takes
Please no.
5 minutes of shooting, you can.
I'm just a girl being a girl trying to live her best life. someone who likes Star Citizen and Star Wars and Anakin Skywalker.
You heat it up enough to start the thing. We didn't show you 5 minutes. We showed you the part where you saw the thing happen.
Yeah.
And
some of those values are simply to make it easier to debug stuff. You know, to make fire. You know.
Yeah.
There is a ship system, and to travel from place to place, it's an auto path with obstacles. Huh, interesting. I don't know. I remember the flying in Starfield, and I'm not comparing the flying with Starfield and Star Citizen, because obviously it's completely different. In Starfield, you basically cannot do anything, and in Star Citizen, you have all the freedom to do whatever you want with your ship. But I feel like when I quantum... No, actually, why am I don't know. I'm sorry. It's late. I don't know what I'm saying. Never mind. Erase that. I'm sorry.
It won't.
I watched the
let's
Lilo
see,
trailer.
So, I think
Yeah, I want to play Kingdom Hearts. I saw there was... Oh, no, I should have bought it. It was on sale on Steam, and I didn't buy it.
how to word this. Why was a two... Oh, is that the one? Did I skip? Oh, how will the different jump drives affect jump point gameplay?
Pardon me.
Star Citizen likes to be inconvenient. It seems like every decision they make has been done to inconvenience the player. I don't think that's entirely true. But from what they have been... I watched a video. If you guys haven't watched it, you can find it on my channel, on my YouTube channel. There was a video like, will Star Citizen be super grindy? And they are talking how they want... How they don't want this to be like a 40, 60-hour game. That they want like to prolongate the gameplay so players play it like for a lot of years. So I am kind of scared that they are gonna complicate things a lot, so people will take longer to reach a goal. I don't know if it makes sense, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of things are gonna change, and I'm pretty sure as the game starts getting more formed and we start getting more content, they are gonna remove a lot of stuff. Maybe they are adding more complications right now because we don't have a lot of game content. So they probably want to give some content. But when real content comes out, they are probably gonna remove some of this stuff that doesn't seem to be useful.
Yeah, so, yeah, sorry, I just had a frog in my throat. Well, no, I mean...
I think the goal is to feel like you could live in the game. Yeah, true.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, go for it.
All right, okay.
I want female hair. More female hair. They did a great job with female hair. But I want a ponytail. And I want to be able to customize my clothes. And I need female clothes. There's no female clothes.
Okay, so...
Should have warned Pete for that. No.
Well, I mean, we've already talked about the turbulence in the tunnel. So that ultimately jump drives have an impact on how they fly.
Yeah, the game needs to be fun.
The main ones are like how ships fly. I know, I've got something in my... You're going to have to take this.
All right, fair enough. So we have different sizes of jump drives, and those more or less correspond to the size of the ships. They will affect how well you are able to handle the turbulence in the jump tunnels.
Yeah. And now I've got my voice back. It's like also like it's the steering of the ship. It's the yaw, roll, and pitch. You know, the speed and things that because you actually have to fly your ship. You still use
the jump drive actually affects your ship handling.
Yes, because ultimately you're not when you're in that jump tunnel. It's the experience of controlling your ship is similar to being out in normal space, but your jump drive is allowing you to manipulate your ship in this in this space that is between
So
space.
the jump drive becomes the engine and the thrusters. So in a matter of speaking.
To an extent.
Yeah.
But you got to imagine, like, this jump tunnel is this stream of energy,
Yum.
and if you're not aligned to that stream of energy, you're gonna get pushed the wrong direction. So your jump drive is actively helping you stay aligned to that stream of energy in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And then the different sizes just make that process easier or more difficult, or?
Well, so there's also ultimately there's this distortion, right? And that's effectively acts as your health to whether you can actually survive getting through the tunnel. Or not. So right now we're playing with the numbers, right? So it could be that all the drives have the same sort of distortion pool for the first release, and then in the future we're going to have more jump drives. So there's going to be more variety. And they may have larger pools, but then you'll have better maneuvering on that one, or so there's balance there, and there's sort of interplay between the parameters. So player choice will still be a factor of choosing which jump drive is suitable for the way you play.
A question I didn't see in the Spectrum list, but I've seen a couple times in Twitch chat. Good job, Twitch chat. Combat inside the jump tunnel.
No.
Well, I know. We know to sync up anything, you have to switch to nav mode, and
That's true.
And that's going to disable your weapon system. But once you get in there,
If you switch out of nav mode while you're in the tunnel, you will get booted out.
That's
and
a
take
fail.
damage.
Yeah, it's a fail.
Interesting.
Any time your jump drive turns off is a fail.
oh, because switching
because
out
it
of
must be
nav
tuned
mode.
and it must remain tuned for the entire experience. So it's systemic.
Oh my god, I already see me accidentally switching and oh no.
Right? If it turns off for any reason, it could be distortion that turns its functionality off, or it could be it sets fire, or it could, someone could sabotage it. It could be anything, but it's the same thing. It fails.
Now, we've got a ship. What's one of those ships that have like the big loading area in the front? The Ironclad. Obviously, the Ironclad's not in 4.0, but now you've got 5 dudes out the front of your ship with railguns. Like, I'm not locked down by
turn
nav
around.
mode, bitches.
Well,
And they start
No Gabby left
firing
behind.
at the guy in front of them, guy or gal in front of them.
Sounds like something
that sounds
that we
like
need to test.
something we need to try. But maybe it's fine. It could be fine. I mean,
It's just one of those things that systemically, like, we're going to have to prove out how it works. But like, weapons I don't expect to function the way you might expect in the in the tunnel, simply because of the physical mechanics are different.
could be ballistic
So,
trajectories change in there. I mean,
once it leaves the zone of your ship, like, all bets are off.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that when this goes back to test realm, whatever, I can't remember what it's called right now.
PTU.
Preview channel.
Avocado?
When this goes back to
preview.
preview channel and stuff, the first time people go through, they're going to like, yay, jump points, yeah, I got from one system to the other. Now let's try to kill people. Like,
Sure.
that's what happens 5 minutes after.
Yeah. But the
now
thing-
they go in, they start loading people up with rail guns and
Sure, but the current design that is anything that leaves the zone of your ship gets booted out. So like, if any projectiles leave the zone of your ship, they should theoretically get booted out of it.
But it hasn't been tested, folks, so it's on you.
We have a lot of testing left to do.
I'm gonna go upstairs and tell the engineers that we had this really zany realization.
Unfortunately, the railgun does not have a jump drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's the whole point. If it doesn't have a jump drive and it wasn't
Fails-
tuned
it
from the
falls
start, it's going to fail.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try it, people. I want to know. They don't sound like they know, do they? They haven't tried it. Try it. Let me know.
But by the time they play it, we will have done it.
Oh, sure. Okay, fine. Sorry, I
We'll have decided.
Ruined it
but
for them.
got it at the wall right now. I'm sorry, everybody.
But I'm sure there'll be some edge cases we don't catch.
Okay. Why was a 2D entry point system where we sit here waiting for my turn to jump without shields, please grief me, system chosen for jump point access instead of the 3D sphere several million kilometers wide where people can enter at all directions? This is the question this was one of the 2 questions that was basically half of all the questions. It's why have we decided, I'm going to put it another way to be more succinct, why have we decided to group everybody right in one place, right in front of the jump point, and have them sitting there waiting for their turn? It seems we're making a smorgasbord.
I mean, I think
I feel like maybe people can open a door and pew pew.
I think your analogy right there, like holding that up, is like the perfect way, because that's literally the mechanic of it. Like you've got your tunnel, your jump point tunnel, and you can't see it, but as soon as that opens up, that's your entry, and you can't enter from over here or over here. You have to go through the doorway.
But it's actually a physicalized space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, so, but now that
That's the tunnel. Yeah.
So if that's why people have to enter from one specific direction, because it's a physicalized thing.
It's a physical doorway.
What do
Space.
we answered the question a little bit. Automated turrets.
Well,
Anybody who's played Star Citizen for any period of time knows that automated turrets haven't had the greatest success rate.
I think
So you're going to get into the griefing.
That's what this question really is. This question is really about the griefing.
I think we could probably just start from the top, get away from the jump point itself, and just talk initially, because you had everyone's queuing outside, they're just queuing in front of it, sitting ducks, ready to be shot.
Why do you want everybody to die?
That isn't the case though. So when you arrive and you're going to be QTing towards the station before the jump point's off to the side, right? So you're going to be arriving there.
I'll come back.
And you're going to call the ATC, right? So when you call the ATC, and let's say they do put you into a queue, you're already quite some distance away from the jump point. And as long as you're within range of the ATC, you're in the queue, and the range expands past the station and past the jump point. So this is a huge range. And in that space...
By the way, today's stream is sponsored by Factor. If you want to use my link, I will post the link in the description, in the comments. You can order, if you don't know what Factor is. Basically, it's like Uber Eats. You just order food, but super healthy food, and it's already good to go. You don't have to cook it. I think it works internationally, or mostly for the US. I don't know. You can try it, but I think it's mostly for the US, but it might work internationally. But yeah, if you want healthy food, if you're hungry and want to eat good food, and also support my content and my YouTube and stream, make sure to use my link, and I appreciate it. And yay, Factor is amazing. We love Factor and HelloFresh. Thank you for watching.
You can be in SCM or nav, you can be buzzing around, you know, you can be tens of kilometers away from anyone else. You can put space between yourself, and you're still in the queue. You're still in the queue as long as you don't leave that really big range.
You don't have to stay in nav mode.
You don't have to stay in nav mode.
Okay.
You can defend yourself from people. You know, that's a misnomer that you have to go cool and then sit in a big line ready to be shot at. That's not the case.
Okay.
So that's the first major change. It's not a change, but that's a clarification of exactly how it works. After that, yes, you're right. Then we're on to turrets, turrets and AI. AI Navy ships there. There's definitely turrets. Yeah, I know. I shot myself.
Oh, okay. It's a US thing. But yeah, US people, if you want healthy, good food, use that code. You get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. So I say it's pretty much an amazing deal. I tried HelloFresh. I did some cooking streams, and oh my god, I'm still obsessed to this day with how good everything was.
But that's what it is, right? These things are in our game, and they are going to be the thing. I'm sure we're going to make them more potent or something.
Well, the thing is, we want to keep the world as much of a simulation as possible. It's a dangerous verse out there, but we don't want to make it punishing for people who just want to like go through a jump point, for instance. So we're going to have things to protect the player there, whether that's turrets or AI. And if those security ships and those turrets aren't cutting it, we will, take more drastic measures, whether that's like zones of protection or shielding or like whatever it takes to make the game fun. That's our goal.
Yeah.
Okay. In addition to that, adjunct to that, the question of the ATC. itself, because not everybody reads Spectrum. I know you addressed this question like the weekend after the episode went out, but let's talk about why the ATC is part of this process.
That sounds good, Kat.
Well, okay, I'm going to have to remember what I wrote.
I made a sweet bread. I did some baking, and it's really good. I'm gonna post some photos.
Just make something new up.
Make something new up. Okay. I didn't make it up when I wrote
Well,
it.
I'm going to take this.
Yeah, please do. 'Cause
I mean, the ATC is there for the permanent, stable jump points. They're there because the powers that be, in this case, you know, the UE security forces that are controlling this to maintain law and order in the system, they've set up shop, and they are like controlling people's jump drives, so they can't attune to the portal within that sector unless they give them permission, and that's the whole purpose of the ATC. Your jump drive on your ship, when it comes within the radius of these stable, controlled jump points, it's controlled by ATC. You literally can't attune to the jump point unless AT gives you the right to do so.
Yeah. I think that's probably the biggest disconnect. One of the newest pieces of information that came in the episode is that there are two distinctly different kinds of jump points.
Yes. Yeah.
Before we had this distinction of sizes, but they were all considered to work the same. Now this is two functionally different. They're both generated by spooling up your drive and generate, but one is, like you said, the highway. It is a civilized, tamed experience by humanity or the Xi'an or whatever system you're going to. It's a tamed, civilized experience, and the other one is still akin to the Old West. There's no ATC, there's no anything. You find it, you spool it up yourself, go win, who knows where you end up, kind of thing.
And I think that's a good point, is that for right now we're just talking about UE controlled space. The way jump points work in other systems, that's very much TBD.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. We are talking about this specific.
Yeah, this Star Citizen Live is really interesting. They are talking about Q&A of jump points. And they are explaining a bit more with jump points what's going on, that they are changing some things and blah, 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 and it's nice. I like it.
Specific jump point between Stanton and Pyro. Obviously, there's a tremendous narrative reason why the UEE would not want this jump point to just be open.
Well,
would not want this jump point to just be a free
it's
mode
their
of travel.
border. It's their border. They protect their border. I mean, obviously.
I feel like they are talking about these borders way too much. Like, yeah, we get it. Like, there's gonna be some jump points where you can have a crime stat, and then there's others where you cannot. But I don't know. I don't think we should focus too much on this.
Past experience demonstrates they're not very good at.
Jump points are cool, but what I want is functional servers. Yeah.
Protecting their borders, but as Rick said, they might come from somewhere else, and they're actually really good with this jump point. It's just that the other ones come from somewhere else.
Thanks to jump points, like the universe is a bit of Swiss cheese, right? So, but there's the stable ones, those that they know about, those that are consistent. Those are the ones that they can at least maintain some control over. So that's where they invest.
Okay. And then yeah. So we had already hit it before, but then
just watch this. Like, something's gonna go wrong when this comes out. Players are gonna take advantage of this, and CIG just gonna keep it as gameplay.
The next question was basically about gate campers and stuff. So just to revisit this real quick. So as far as protective measures,
because players find it fun.
Turrets, automated turrets. We're hopeful. Obviously, automated turrets up to this point have been dependent, like a lot of AI systems are, on server performance. One of the things that we're very hopeful for is that with 4.0, with the advent of server meshing, with the distributed load of these things across multiple servers, that kind of performance will improve. People who have played on Tech Preview saw how much deadlier AI was when they played against them. People who have jumped into a new server that hasn't degraded can tell stories about how absolutely devastating the AI can be. So it is one of our hopes but this will bear out through testing and whatnot, is that through the advent of server meshing and distributing that load across multiple servers, AI turrets will perform much better than they have in the past.
AI, yeah. I mean, yeah, if they have enough server performance on their side, they are lethal.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, if that's not enough, like you said, there are other avenues. We don't want to just hit it with a big, heavy hammer right out the bat. We want to try to build up. Some part of this is intended to be dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. If we were so prescriptive from the start, it would completely eliminate some area of gameplay. Like we could do that, and then it would completely nullify something. But we like to kind of work the other way and try to maintain some of it, but also not, letting the griefers win the whole thing, right?
So we've got some technologies that the players already know about, like green zones and stuff that can be implemented. We also have, not that we want to, I see your face. We also have some technologies we haven't shared yet we're hopeful to come online that might also apply to that. I don't want to spoil that there, but it's one of those things I just want to.
We know
there are people here. There are people who work here who want absolute carnage. I'm not going to lie to you. There are people who work here who just want blood and fire and death, and God go with them. Then there are people like me who I tend to be treasury and secretary of the Care Bear fan club. Here, I'm just telling you who I am as a player. So I tend to be like, let's preserve the experience, let's make things as fair as possible, whatever. Like anything else, the answer is going to be somewhere.
Oh, thank you so much, Siswang, for ordering from Factor. What did you order?
In the middle.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We're starting a little closer to here, and then if it's too much, we'll adjust. We'll find it.
Part of my job as a design director is to make sure that the game is fun for everybody. If you want to be a griefer, I'm going to give you that experience, but the people that don't want to be griefed, they need to have a safe place, and they need to know where they can go to be safe. And we need to make sure that there's places in the verse for them.
And a good example of that is the big changes to the space stations we're going to talk about next week's.
You let it pick for you.
The green zones on Pyro space stations, but then the creation of
enjoy
contested
your food.
zones. So there are
Thank
areas
you so much.
for
You're
safety
the best.
and security, even in Pyro. And then there are
Posted
areas
in
for
Kings.
absolute carnage and chaos and stuff like that. So, next question. It was mentioned in the ISC that exiting the wormhole will be a sort of shotgun approach to minimize collisions. We all remember in those first tech previews, just to minimize collisions and reduce the impact of gate camping. But how will the shotgun
that looks so
approach
freaking
affect
good.
groups intending to coordinate their efforts, such as orgs jumping in to remove gate campers? Will partied up ships arrive closer together than unaffiliated ships, or will everyone be at the mercy of any
so
clusters
good.
of enemies in their exit vector?
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy.
Very long.
So yeah, it's a really long question, but
I think I came up with an analogy. I might have anyway, but like you've been working on the details. So how's it actually going to work?
all right. So obviously, you're coming to the end of your jump tunnel. Everyone's coming out of the same exit point, right? So they're all going to come out, and they're all going to be in the same vicinity, the same sort of region of space. The point that was being made with this shotgun approach, or shotgun effect, or whatever it was we said, is that it's really it's that we have a slight divergence of the paths of those ships as they emerge, and the whole point of that is they're still going to be in roughly the same bit of space. They're going to be like maybe a kilometer across from each other or something like that, within spitting distance of each other. Basically, it was just that divergence. The shotgun is the divergence which allows them to not rear-end each other on exit. It's not that you come out all over the place and then you're like,
I'm not going to be able to see anybody.
Where are you? Yeah, it's not going to be like that. You're going to be there with your friends and everyone else who came through. And if you need to put up some kind of defense, then you will be all around each other to do that.
So for folks traveling in groups, I mentioned that when you call ATC, you'll be able to see how many people are in the queue. You can wait, and you get in the queue with your friends and whatever. So when you arrive, you will still be in close enough proximity with your friends to help each other out and stuff.
Yeah, Yeah.
But yeah, it is not going. It's. I mean, yes. Everybody afraid that there might be people who don't care about their crime. Say, I live in Pyro now. I'm never going back to Stanton. You know, it's like there will be those people. There will be those people who are like, I haven't been to Stanton in 6 months. It's like F that place. It's like so they're going to be there to try to cause problem.
Sure.
It's where it's a good reminder that we are making a.
There's also multiple exits, though. It's worth saying. There's multiple exits to the exit.
What do you mean multiple? Oh.
So there's multiple points around the area where you exit to. So there's no one can just be like, oh well, they're definitely going to come out there.
Like we've got that. Yeah.
You know, lots of places.
Well, I think that goes
they're
back
still
to
in the vicinity, but it's still.
Okay, because that was the question. Because everybody was, I think people were imagining wildly apart.
No, not wildly, like hundreds of kilometers away, sort of apart.
Okay.
You're going to come out in the same place, but it might be like different places.
I think the response to that would be if I'm close enough, if I'm going to be close enough to my friends, then it should still be anticipated enough a dozen times to be able to figure out the general idea.
Sure, but they have to look in a lot of places.
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
No.
I know what you're saying.
It's a thing that it'll get borne out through the testing.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where we could spin our wheels worrying about it right now. And reality is, we just got to get it in there and see how it is, and we'll adjust it if necessary. And those things that you said, it's not one of those things that's worth getting entirely worked up about right now. It's wait for the tech preview, wait for the testing, and see if it becomes a problem that we determine is too much. We'll adjust.
Yeah, and so you're also going to come out in monitored space. UE has a presence in Pyro.
Yeah.
So like unless somebody's attacking that jump point, you shouldn't be in immediate peril anyway.
And you can just press all the crimes to them. I know that you could say, oh, they're never going to leave, but there's things in Stanton that Pyro doesn't have.
Yes. Sorry, I was just reading Blue Minx in chat.
I think I'm mostly when Pyro comes out, I think I'm mostly gonna spend my time there because it's new. Because it's gonna be new stuff to do, new missions, and just new places to explore. Like we have been in Stanton for so long that I think everyone is gonna do that because they need a change. And then after a few, everyone's gonna be like, all right, like I'm gonna go back to Stanton, or other players are gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna stay in Pyro.
Who's always a delight in Twitch chat.
Okay.
It's like early days, work in progress. Yeah, it's early days for this. Like it's every new feature. It's the early days for that. It's like there's this idea that happens. I'm gonna take like oh, I used my swear.
Oh, rant time.
I'm gonna take a minute here for some Jared time here. There's this idea, and it doesn't apply to any game in the history of game development where everything is worked on simultaneously. Where it's like, oh, jump points have been worked on since 2012. They haven't. When we showed them in 2019, the idea is that they've been worked on continuously since 2019, since we first showed them. They haven't.
Oh no, they triggered something. Oh my god, I was around when this whole thing exploded. I think I was 1 year into Star Citizen. I started playing Star Citizen on September 2021. I purchased, or I pledged for the game in 2017, but I didn't play it because I don't remember if it was because my computer couldn't run it or because I didn't know what to do and the game was too complicated. I don't know, but I picked the game on September 2021, and I think I was like a year later. I remember like there was so much drama, everything exploded because CIG decided to remove their roadmap because players were getting hella upset because they were in the roadmap. It says that we're gonna have this and this and this, and you guys launch the patch and you guys didn't do this and this and this, and you only did this, which is completely different and it's not even in the roadmap. And when was that? I don't know. It was like early 2022 or something. I don't know. I was still like in love with Star Citizen. I didn't know what was happening. Everyone was super mad, and I was like, I love Star Citizen. And it exploded, like, because like CIG had on their roadmap like a bunch of things lined up of what they were gonna do. So they decided to remove it. And I think we still have the roadmap, but now we have like the things that are actually like coming out. I think like they probably released it like, I don't know, but we have like a totally different version of the roadmap of what we had before. Like, I don't remember when was this, but I'm pretty sure it was like still 2021 or early 2022. Or maybe, no, I don't think it was 2023. But everything like, boom, when it went big, bada boom. And Jared, since then, every single Star Citizen live, every single Inside Star Citizen, he's like, everything we say this doesn't mean that it's gonna come out the next patch. Like, I can see the trauma in these videos that he has from back then when all these things exploded, because everyone was like, you guys promised this in 3.22 and in 3.15 you promised this and this and this. There was fire. It was ugly. I didn't really get into that, but I saw that they made a whole changes, and then they posted like a tweet or something that from now on we're gonna make sure you guys know that like it's work in progress. It's not right now. We don't have a date. Oh yeah, because people were getting upset because there were dates on this roadmap, and now he's like, this doesn't have a date. We don't know, and we will let you know, but we don't have a date. It's work in progress. I can see the trauma in Jared, poor thing.
Work on the thing that is in this next.
It's a general,
release,
right? Yeah.
And then the thing that's in that.
People were so upset. The roadmap that we have now is not what we have back then when the drama exploded.
Release after that, and after that, it's like you focus.
But there's always drama. I mean, people get bored because we don't have game content, so there's always a new drama every single week.
On what's in front of you and stuff like this. So it's when we say things like it's early days, we're talking about that feature, because until it's out, until the first version of it is out, that is the meaning of that term and stuff like this. So it's bad term and apply it to everything and whatnot. No, the project is not early days. But when we talk about this feature, we're talking about jump points. Yeah. This is the start of implementing the next major milestone for Star Citizen, and we've never done it before. We're doing it now for the first time. But yes, the thing to take away, as I've said a couple times, is we're going to try a thing. You're going to give us feedback. We're going to look at that feedback. Then if a change is mandated, we're going to make a change. That's how that works. That's how that works. We've got, there's even changes to master modes coming up. We're not quite ready to talk about it. We're testing a couple different things and whatnot now. That's how the process works. So we do a thing, you give us feedback. You do a thing, you give us feedback. But the doom and gloom stuff doesn't really help.
I feel like at one point though, CIG needs to stop listening to feedback. Like, I get feedback is positive, but holy moly, the master modes thing is like exhausting. Like, CIG, you are the experts. Yeah, we are the ones who play, but at the end of the day, you have to make a decision of what you want your game to be, and you have to stick to that decision, because they do something they are really proud of, and then all the players are super mad, and they are like, oh no, we were joking. This was just a test for you guys. We're gonna change it, right? I don't know. I feel like they depend on the players too much, which is really good. There's no other game like that. I know a lot of games, and I know a lot of companies, and there's not a lot of games like that, or like 0 games. But I think at one point, CIG has to be like, yo, we're gonna do this, and you're gonna be happy with it, and we have to be happy.
All right, that's my aside.
Because we just want a finish game. And if they keep changing this and this and this and this, we're never going to have a finished game.
Ed, I don't know. I just decided this was your question. What happens if you kill a crew member or pilot during a jump? Where do they respawn?
Yeah, so if anyone dies through misadventure whilst in a jump tunnel, then you will simply respawn wherever you last registered your spawn point.
Gotcha. So if I
Wherever that is.
if I make it to Pyro and I go through and I have some adventures and whatever, and then I die if I haven't locked a new spawn point somewhere in Pyro.
Yeah. Back you go, yeah. But even in that tunnel, right? So if you
I thought only people with ADHD worked at CIG.
registered in Stanton, and you're like, oh, this is great. I'm almost to Pyro, and then you kill yourself. Well, it doesn't matter. You're not going to Pyro.
Yeah, to be fair, everyone has ADHD nowadays.
Going back to Stanton.
Which is how it works today. You don't,
It's just
you don't just respawn at the nearest space station or whatever. You respawn where you've registered.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly,
how the system is intended to work.
But equally, you could have also registered yourself at your medical Ursa inside your ship, and that, I mean, you're going there as well.
Nurse.
So you don't have to go back if you were prepared for that, I suppose.
It's called nursing.
I don't want to say it. I'd say at work, which I'm kind of at work, but I don't want to say it here. It feels weird.
Can you tow ships through a jump point?
No. No, you can tow ships through quantum jumps, but you can't tow a ship through a jump tunnel.
I asked you again. Why do you hate fun?
It's a systemic thing, right? Because anything.
He's like, why do you hate fun? And he's like, well,
nothing can be in the jump tunnel that wasn't tuned to it and stays attuned to it for the entirety of the time to get to the other side. Right. If we let you do that, you'd be towing a ship that it would instantly fail.
Sure. It's what I was saying earlier. Anything that's not in your ship zone is not considered part of your ship, so it gets booted out.
This is one of those things that happens when you develop systemically and not just create a bespoke feature for every little thing.
And if you want to take another ship through, a jump tunnel, a jump point, there's other ways to do that. Like
bring it inside you.
That's one way, yes.
No, Jared. No.
Can the ATC play Jump by Van Halen on the first jump each person makes? I'm not even going to answer. Yes. Yes, it can.
And you just signed on for the licensing?
What was the question?
Yeah. Yes. Jump by Van Halen. Can the ATC play Jump by Van Halen on the first jump each person makes? I'm not even going to answer. Yes. Yes, it can.
And you just signed on for the licensing, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Yep, I'm going to go talk to the
Coming out of your paycheck?
Yeah, it comes out of your paycheck.
It's if you do it on your own, yes, you can. You have. All right, so that does it for our 4.0 questions. We're going to end up using the full hour anyway. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, we're for long haul.
That's all right. Meeting can
and
wait.
will to different things.
What are they going to do? They come in and stop us? Let's go. Some of these questions were beyond. We're for the future of jump points. So let's touch a little bit of these. That brings us to the big jump gate in the room. The most asked question.
Yes.
Are there any plans to reintroduce the big jump gate structures, or is this entirely off the table?
I mean, this kind of gets back to what you're saying earlier. Back in
Oh yeah, people were fuming about that they removed that.
2019, when I first joined the company, we were doing some previs, checking out what we thought looked cool, and what made sense for Star Citizen. I mean, the end result is we decided to go away from that jump gate ring visual because we didn't think it made sense for the way we envision jump points working in Star Citizen. They're not something that are maintained by human technology. You can't create one, you can't maintain one, you can't make one larger. There's no technology for that currently in the system, and that with that visual in mind, it didn't feel consistent to have that kind of architecture around it.
Those are all narrative choices. Those are all choices we've made for the project.
It's a creative decision. Absolutely.
We just don't like them.
No, I mean, I liked it. I know a lot of people did really like it. Like, there's something very iconic about that kind of Stargate ring, for instance. But for the way we were envisioning jump points to work in Star Citizen, it just didn't feel right, and so we made that call.
Yeah, I mean, you could also look at it this way. If you were looking at it even in a lore sense, if someone had to build a gate structure to make a permanent jump point, and you jump to a system that no one has ever been to. So the permanent jump point on that side still works, even though who built the gate?
He's like just moving his eyes, like thinking.
Yeah, there's those kind of logical inconsistencies that makes it difficult, and there's also like the fact that like we're not some other games where we have this ancient alien race that left behind a bunch of technology, and like there's a number of reasons why we felt that it was inconsistent for Star Citizen, the lore and the creative decisions we want to make, and at the end of the day, like right now, we don't think it's appropriate.
There are one of the things you said there was right on. You said right now. As I said earlier in this show, we've all been here now long enough to know that whatever the intention and the thought and the plan is today doesn't mean that it won't change. Doesn't mean that one of us won't have a different idea. Doesn't mean that through the natural process of growth and learning and stuff that we won't come to a different decision later. So this is not to say that they will never come back. But at this point, on this day, August, is it August? Yeah. August 9th.
It is the 9th.
Kind of feels like a house tour show where they just spend the whole episode talking about how the door works and how cool it is. Oh my god, I think I heard like 3 times. Can you jump from Stanton to Pyro with a crime stat? Like, it was like 30 minutes of that talk.
2024, there are no intentions whatsoever of bringing them back at this point.
Right.
I do find it interesting. This has been an interesting one because in the course of doing this for a decade, it's very common, and it's not altogether unjustified to say that a lot of decisions that Star Citizen has made are very visually driven as opposed to gameplay driven or sorry, not all. There are some things that get lumped into that are unfair, but there are plenty of things we've deserved over the years a certain amount of criticism for prioritizing looks over functionality and stuff. And this is the first time in the history of the project that I can think of, and I've been thinking about this since we aired the episode, where that has been reversed. There is no gameplay use for these. There's no gameplay function for these rings at all. No. Because they're strictly an aesthetic thing.
They would be,
and people are very passionate about it. People want it.
They can also make problems, though. You know, having rings like that could make problems. It could make effectively blind spots, griefable positions. There's actually, they could create more problems by having this.
Any design decision we make ends up having knock-ons of
some sort. Absolutely. Everything has knock-ons.
I just think it's I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. This has been there aren't a whole lot of entirely new situations left to be discovered, and us pulling a visual thing back, and then getting and having some folks is a new experience for us visually. Obviously not.
I mean, it's also like the jump point itself has had lots of visual treatment on its VFX. It feels a little bit disingenuous to say taking away the gate is like taking away the jump point, because there's tons of so much work has gone into like the visuals of it, and
it's pushed farther than when we saw in ISC.
Yeah. Just because we didn't go this way doesn't mean that the way that we are going doesn't have the same amount of love poured into it to make it, the best it can be.
So yeah, it's like I said, just to wrap it up, nobody who wants it and appreciates it is wrong or anything.
Oh, God.
It's if I'm being absolutely truthful, I prefer it with the thing. I literally watching through Jumpgate Atlantis right now, and I like it, but
It's a cool aesthetic. There's a lot of people that like it, both fans and people here.
yeah, but it is. There has been a movement. It's subtle. We've only had one major release so far, but there's been a change inside Star Citizen development that I hope will become more apparent as more releases go out. That of more focus on gameplay, more focus on performance, more focus on systemic natures, and less being driven by purely eye candy.
Absolutely.
And this is one of those things. Like I said, we've only had one patch since this thing, so it's not completely evident yet. But I believe that as we get 3.24 out and 4.0 and stuff like that, people will start to see that we've turned a corner. I think we're never going to give up the visuals. Like this,
No.
this is good. This is always a gorgeous game.
And you can't have good gameplay without those visuals either.
Yeah, but we're trying to balance that now, and I think that's part of what this is. It's like we don't need that. Let's see if we can do it without it. Let's see how it plays without it. Let's see if we can make an experience that's rewarding for players without it. And our intention is not to bring them back. But neither one of us are going to sit here and look down the camera and say they will never come back because we've all worked here too long. There's too many possibilities for change.
The verse is way too large.
Yep. All right. Is the unified jump point size system a permanent solution, or will we see small, medium, large jump points make a return in the future?
Right now, the intention let's just
I guess
break that
for the
down. Let's
permanent.
break it down, right?
Yeah, we know they're there for transient. We don't
Yeah,
need to talk
transient,
about
they're all
we're
different
talking
sizes. One right now, the first one is large, and that's our intention, and I'm sure you're going to tell. So
Sure, like the intention is
the
that
backpedal
the
or
reason
whatever.
the reason why the permanent ones are so important is because they are one size fits all, and that's currently the intent. Whether in the future we have stable ones that are different sizes, time will tell. But for now, the reason why those are so important, the reason why they're maintained by ATC is because they are the most useful.
yeah.
Okay.
We didn't really want to. Don't really want to like.
I feel like every answer to that question is like, not right now, but maybe in the future.
Prevent people from going to places just because their ship's large, and I think that's also true, right?
Well, I think when people
When you're one, it's worse.
I think there was a certain strategy element of making sure that you had the right ship, and that you brought the right ship for the particular journey. I think when people lament the one size fits all thing, they lament the loss of a strategic element of interstellar travel.
Yeah, and that's fine when we have more jump points and there's more than one way to reach a system, and like some are longer, some are harder, some are easier, like depending on your ship. Like there may be the right jump point for you. But for the main ones that we need, like those arteries to connect the universe, like we want to make sure that those are consistent.
Okay, so that's an idea. There's an idea that I hadn't considered yet. So while all the jump points are capable of fitting every ship, depending on the strength of the current inside and the amount of obstacles and stuff, you may still want a ship of a different size.
Absolutely.
And instead of that being mandated by us, that's a choice that we now put in the hands of the player.
Exactly.
So that's a good way to come at that. Yeah. Good answer, Rick.
Thanks.
Good thinking.
My job, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're just jumping.
By the way, for people going to SitCon, I made a travel list recommendation on Amazon. You can find the link on the description, so you don't miss anything during your SitCon trip.
Way out into the future. We're gonna fill the hour. I'm sorry. Just tell the producers I'm sorry.
Hi, Ray. Hype.
If they were going to fire me by now, they'd do it. What can you tell us about how transient jump points will be discovered in the future?
That, I think you're taking a
So
more information on that.
that sort of exploration of transient jump points is something that I'm pretty excited about, because I want to build more like places of interest in the universe in general, and the jump points are a cool one, because like we want to have this kind of Swiss cheese effect of like you can go from like one system to another in various ways. Like we were just talking about like having a variety of different jump points that fit different ships. But how you discover those, like a jump point has a radar signature, and just like every radar signature, that signature is unique, and so different radars can have better sensitivity to different types of signatures.
Sigma, yeah.
And different radars can give you different information about those signatures, like how strong it is, how far away it is, like how long the tunnel is, how big the tunnel is. Like there's a lot of stuff that we could potentially give about like those transient jump points when we have a lot more of them, and finding them with the right radar and the right ship. Like I expect that our exploration ships, like the Carrack, for instance, which is our flagship exploration ship, I expect that to once we build up these radars that are specifically created for exploration to find things like jump points, they will be attuned to find those at greater distances to give you more information. So that's where we're heading with that.
One of the major talking points, our ISC on Resource Network ahead of 4.0 is in 4 weeks, maybe. I'm flying to Germany to shoot it here real soon. One of the talking points is if folks remember many years ago, 2017, 2018, John Crew and I wrote a series of articles for the website called The Shipyard, where we broke down the future of ship development and the component system and performance versus military versus blah blah stuff. A big chunk of that is finally being realized alongside the Resource Networking System. So we're now, after talking about it so long, we're now here at the true start of this journey of swappable components and deciding what kind of quantum drive, what kind of thrusters, what kind of this and that you put on your ship to specifically tune the stuff like that. And radar will be one of those. I don't think the swappable radar's in 4.0, but.
No, but when we start doing transient jump points, we will absolutely retrofit like our different ships to have those radars. Like we want our exploration ships to be able to find those more easily, so we'll absolutely do that.
Or just provide more radars to swap out, as opposed to going back and retrofitting the ships. It's just adding.
Well, yeah, it's not so much retrofitting.
Adding the components that players can swap out themselves.
Like those radars don't exist right now, but we will create them specifically for the transient.
Just don't want the red thread. Oh my gosh, Rick committed to another spaceship revamp. How many is this? 17?
I'll swap out the radar myself if I have
to. Last question. Will dynamic jump points stay open long enough to log and sell their existence for profit and then reuse them multiple times?
Yeah, of course. But basically, like this question is basically saying like you don't want to have them for too short a period of time, so that they're useless. Well, yeah, we know, right? So they're going to be like, we haven't got the numbers, but it's definitely minimums in the sort of hours. So hours is a useful period of time to be able to use something, reuse something, sell something. That's sort of the minimum, and then it goes up from there, and everything in between. So
that's not to say we're known for doing all these global events.
Yep.
Xeno Thread and whatever. There's absolutely nothing that says we can't have a transient jump point show up to take us to a new kind of global event. To a global event, and it's there for the whole week when that's happening. And
absolutely.
The event's going.
And then
one of you dudes have to find it.
And then you can't get there because it's actually gone.
I'm realizing I probably wasn't supposed to share that.
I wouldn't say we don't have plans for that.
Well, wait, yeah, I'll just shush.
What?
And then it's there for the whole week. New kind of global event to a global event, and it's there for the whole week when that's happening. And
absolutely.
the event's going.
And then it's
one of you
really
dudes have to find it.
gone. And then you can't get there because it's actually gone.
I'm realizing I probably wasn't supposed to share that.
I wouldn't say we don't have plans for that.
Well, wait, yeah, I'll just shush.
Now, there's a lot of cool things that we can do with jump points. I'm really excited to add those transient ones in the future because they do add a lot of variety, and we could
Delete the VOD!
we could potentially add as many as we want, so it could be exciting.
Okay. Not for 4.0 though. I'm not trying to.
For
There
the
are no transient jump points in 4.0 because I know there's people. That's not being coy. That's me being honest and real with you. One jump point in 4.0.
Well, on either side.
One two-way jump point. Well, they go like
Paired.
so I guess
They're
one
paired.
pair of jump points.
Two one-way jump points.
Because Rick doesn't want people crashing into each other because he also hates fun.
Yeah, that's me.
I feel like it will look cool to see the people going the other way. It will be cool.
All right, that's it. Congratulations, gentlemen! You survived another Star Citizen Live. Rick, you were here for so long before you did any of these, and now you're slowly
Just
becoming.
dragging me right in. I like it.
Ed, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us. And what I will probably. There's probably going to be one of these on fire where we follow up in another month, so we'll probably.
I feel like I've had enough.
We'll probably see.
You've had enough of
It's
me.
not going to be for like another month, so.
Yeah.
So you got some time before we bring you back. For those watching at home or in their cars or whatever, be sure you check out yesterday's Inside Star Citizen on Fire. Lots of cool information on that. I do want to mention that just like when we did our jump points and we didn't have the obstacles ready to show because we put work in progress down there. It's always work in progress. And for the fire show last night, yesterday,
Jared,
we didn't have all the smoke effects that the folks wanted. We saw a little bit of it at the end. We were able to get a little bit of it at the end. Smoke is there. It's gorgeous. It can obscure everything. It makes fire 10 times more scary. We'll let you discover that on your own when you get to tech preview and stuff. So rest assured that's in. And then come back next week on SCL. We'll have Con and George and Manuel Hyder from the level design team will be following up on the contested zones and asteroid bases that we talked about last week on ISC. They'll be here. There'll be a thread on Spectrum. You can submit your questions on Monday. And then on ISC, we go down to the surface side of Pyro for a look at social gameplay. All the things there are to do that isn't carnage and chaos. And there's actually more than one. We filled the whole episode of it. So check that out. I didn't mean to like nervously gulp there. That was entirely. I don't know what that was, but no, it's coming along real cool. We're gonna introduce you to the Headhunter game and the brand new Citizens for Prosperity. They were called Citizens for Pyro for a while. I think they're called Citizens for Prosperity now. I got so much information in here. I don't remember what's about. So be sure to check that out. Thanks for watching. That was Rick. That was Ed. I'm Jared. We might do a raid.
Gabby.
I don't know if there's a raid. Say hi to whoever we raid to. Be nice and take care, everybody. And I'll see you later. Bye.
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 All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget that we are sponsored by Factor. So if you want to eat healthy, if you want good food, you don't have time to cook, but you want good and healthy food, make sure to use my code. It's gonna be available for 30 days, a whole month. You have to be a first-time Factor user for you to help me, because this gives me a percentage, and I appreciate it. Every single person who decides to get some of this to help me, I really appreciate it. It helps my content. I'm a full-time content creator. This is my job. This is all I do. This is where my income comes from. This is how I pay my bills. So if you decide to help me, I hope you enjoy your food. Thank you so much for ordering. And you have 30 days to use my code. It doesn't matter if you get 6 meals, 8 meals, blah blah blah. It's only gonna work if you do whatever purchase you make. I'm not gonna make more if you spend more, on this. I'm not gonna get less commission if you spend less. I'm gonna say get the same commission if you get the cheapest meal or the most expensive meal. So I mean, you can get the cheapest one and have food for a few days and enjoy it and help me. You don't have to spend a lot of money on this. The first box is 50% off. And then if you decide you like it and you want to continue, you have 20% off in the next month. But yeah, it's up to you. I'm only gonna get commission for 1 month, only 1 month. And you can get the cheapest meal. You don't have to get super expensive. I don't get more commission for the more you spend. No, it's just like just 1% just for you using my code. So yeah, we have a few meals. It looks super good. You can get even pancakes for breakfast for the morning, and you can get whatever you want. All of this looks super good. Filet mignon, mignon baguette, blah blah. Anyway, yeah. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. This was a really good episode, and also I have an Amazon recommendation list for people going to SitCon. So yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you guys next week with some Star Citizen Live and some inside Star Citizen. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys. Have an amazing weekend, and thank you for being here. Bye bye. Be, be.